Come in. Hey, glad to see you're working hard. Or hardly working, am I right?
What can I do for you?
Well, hey, I'm coming to you as I'm having this problem with one of the employees that works for me.
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Well, you see, how many of you have had problems with an employee not performing to your expectations? Have you felt frustrated by not having defined metrics to be evaluated by your managers? Today, we're going to discuss the ever-important topic of performance improvement plans and managing difficult employees. This is a tool many HR advisors and managers use to try and correct an employee's behaviors or otherwise help them to meet certain expectations that are defined by the company. How many of you have implemented performance improvement plans for your company? Let us know in the comments below. Specifically, a performance improvement plan is defined as a tool to give an employee with performance deficiencies the opportunity to succeed. It may be used to address failures to meet specific job goals or to otherwise correct behavior-related concerns. It is my hope that today you all learn how, when, and why you use a performance improvement plan, and to help you develop a template and tools to manage difficult employees. So let's jump back into the situation with the executive. My employee Roy has been showing up late to work 1 to 2 times per week and has just not met the specific targets for performance.
Well, have you tried talking to Roy about this situation?
I mentioned in passing that he needs to show up to work on time, but he keeps coming in late. I also feel like he does not fit in well with the culture of the company.
Of course, yeah. Well, you see, we need to have specific performance metrics to use as examples to illustrate to him where he's coming up short. Let's work on figuring those out today so I can use them in a specific formal meeting with Roy in order to introduce a performance improvement plan to him to try to correct these issues.
If he does not improve within the next few weeks, I need him gone.
Well, here's what I'll do. I'll let him know that we expect to see specific, immediate, correction when it comes to showing up late, and then we'll give him 30 days to correct the other issues that we're going to discuss here today. Does that sound fair?
Hey, that's perfect. Let's get started on defining those expectations so we can move on to the golf course.
Now, before you see me presenting the performance improvement plan to Roy, let's talk about the important elements of such plans. The first important point to remember with performance improvement plans is that you must be specific in the expectations for that position. You need to define where the employee is falling short and state what they need to do to meet the expectations. For example, if an employee is showing up late to work every day by 15 minutes, identify this deficiency and put down that the employee must show up every day on time, beginning at 8 a.m. or whenever that start time is. As a second example, if an employee is not meeting report submission expectations, identify this issue and state that the employee must turn in the reports on time, defining that deadline and identify the number of reports that would need to be submitted. Be upfront, direct, and honest. Do not beat around the bush. Second, you should also provide the deadline for correction, whether that's 1 week, 30 days, etc., and explain what will happen if they do not improve, such as a formal written warning or termination. Third, when planning the meeting, it is best to conduct them in a neutral spot, such as a conference room, and in a manner that would not embarrass the employee by making the circumstances, such that everyone in the office knows what is going on. As a bonus tip, don't spring the meeting on the employee. Give them time to prepare their thoughts after you let them know what the meeting is going to be about. Fourth, HR should start the meeting, but it should remain conversational. Take the issues one by one, explaining the deficiency and what needs to be done to correct it. Allow the employee to then respond accordingly, but do not allow them to get argumentative. If they do, you can explain that these are the decisions of the company and the employee needs to abide by them. Fifth, after the meeting, allow the employee to respond in writing with their thoughts. You should also document the meeting and what occurred during it and what was said. Keep that documentation in the employee file as further evidence that these issues were addressed. This helps keep evidence in the event of a termination or future lawsuit, or if the employee's subsequent files for unemployment. The performance improvement plan should also be kept in the employee file, but hey, that goes without saying. Sixth, when the deadline for correction has come, meet with the employee to either affirm the corrected performance or to issue the discipline, and explain why the employee continued to come up short. It is also a good idea to provide feedback during the correction period if you are able to. Now, let's head to the conference room for that performance meeting with Roy. Hi Roy, I really appreciate you meeting me today. As you know, we're here to discuss some performance concerns your managers have noticed. I don't know, this all seems ridiculous to me, as I think I'm performing great.
I'm one of the smartest people in this company. Let's just go ahead and get started then. First, your managers have noticed that you come in late, 15 to 20 minutes, 1 to 2 times per week. As you know, and as stated in the policies of the company, the start time is 8 a.m. You need to show up on time, starting with your next scheduled shift. I just thought the start time was more of a suggestion, and my managers haven't really expressed concern about it in the past. They now want to correct your late arrivals. If you do not begin coming to work on time, you will receive a written warning. If you continue to show up late, the company will likely move forward with the termination of your employment. Let's move on to the next issue. Your manager expressed you're not submitting your compliance reports on time. Remember, you must submit your compliance reports within 1 week of receiving the project unless your manager otherwise provides a different deadline in writing. I used to submit them on time, but my manager never really addressed them until like 2 or 3 weeks after I ended up sending them. It is a requirement of your position that you submit them within 1 week, regardless of when your manager reviews them. If you have questions about a due date or when a manager may need the report in order to prioritize them, I would email your manager and ask about specific deadlines. If you do not hear back, you should just assume they are due on the next week mark that they're normally due. Okay, I understand. I fully expect that you'll make these report changes immediately. Nevertheless, we are giving you 30 days to get back on schedule. If at the end of the 30 days you are still not submitting your reports on time because it is an essential function of your position, the company will need to terminate your employment. As always, if you have any questions or concerns during the next 30 days, definitely let me or your manager know so that we can ensure we address them before the 30-day deadline. Finally, here's a copy of the performance improvement plan for your review. We will also be keeping a copy in your file. HR will see you again in 30 days to discuss your performance. Hey, you talked to him? I absolutely did. We're gonna reevaluate with Roy in 30 days. All right, sounds good. I've also added this date to our calendars. That way we remember when those 30 days are up. You should also follow up with him during that initial 30-day period. That way he remembers what he needs to comply with. And if you see any immediate issues, you can help correct those during the initial 30 days, just to give him a fighting chance at keeping his job. And of course, please let me know if we need to move forward with any discipline for this employee if he does not correct his performance. And in fact, can you do one favor for me? Sure, what's that? Can you hit the like button and subscribe so we can continue making episodes like this? And let us know down in the comments below if there's any topic you want to see us cover in a future episode. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening.